Alright, hey guys, this is Sturmgewehr88. Today I'm going to be answering the question of what is Ryukyu? So let's go ahead and start off with the origins of the term. In 220 BC, this guy, Qin Shi Huang, became the first emperor of China. The name China actually comes from the name of his dynasty, Qin. After multiple failed assassination attempts, Qin Shi Huang became obsessed with becoming immortal. In his search for the elixir of life, Qin Shi Huang visited the island of Jifu a number of times, where he met a man named Shu Fu. The emperor put Shu Fu in charge of an expedition to find Mount Penglai. According to legend, Mount Penglai was on an island in the Eastern Sea and was inhabited by a race of happy immortals who knew the secret of immortality. Shu Fu set out with hundreds of young men and women, as well as grains, ceramics, and farming equipment that was to be offered to the immortals as tribute. They set sail in 219 BC, but were never seen again. Many people believe that Shu Fu reached Japan and colonized it, starting the Yayoi period of Japanese history. Alternatively, he could have just as easily reached the islands south of Japan, specifically the island of Kudaka. Local legends say that foreigners visited the islands in ancient times, bringing with them the grains that became a staple for the islanders. To this day, the entire island is a holy place. Now that we've gotten the ancient context out of the way, let's skip ahead over 800 years. In the early 600s AD, the emperor of the Sui Dynasty also wanted the secret to immortality, so he sent his own expedition to the eastern seas. This time, they found the island country of Ryukyu. The official history of the Sui Dynasty is where we first find the characters for Ryukyu, which in Japanese is pronounced Ryukyu. Now I'll read some of the description from the Book of Sui. The country of Ryukyu is situated amidst islands in the sea, in a location that should be east of Jinan County, to which one may arrive with 5 days' travel by water. The land has many caves. Its king's clan name is Huanxi, and his given name is Kalaudo. It is not known how many generations have passed since he and his have come to possess the country. The people of that land call him Kalaoyang, and for his wife they say Dobatu. His place of residence they call Bolotan Grotto, with threefold moats and fences. The perimeter has flowing water, trees, and briars as barriers. As for the domicile of the king, it is 16 rooms large, and engraved with carvings of birds and beasts. The country has 4 or 5 chiefs, who unite several villages under their rule. The villages have their own little kings. Now the Chinese couldn't understand the native language, but they convinced some of the islanders to come back to China with them. Some Japanese who were visiting the Chinese capital saw the islanders and thought that they must be from the island of Yaku, south of Japan. Now the Chinese trained one of the islanders to act as an interpreter for them and sent on a second expedition to the island. The Chinese asked the king of Ryukyu to submit to Chinese authority, and when he refused, a fight broke out. This resulted in the royal palace being burned to the ground, and as the Chinese retreated to their ships, they took hundreds of islanders captive. Now it's also interesting to note that all of the islands are later called Ryukyu or Ryukyu. The island of Okinawa is specifically called Great Ryukyu, while Taiwan is called Lesser Ryukyu. Now many scholars have argued that the expeditions actually went to Taiwan instead of Okinawa. However, Taiwan never was a castle building culture like Okinawa. So now let's go back and look at the characters again. Over time, the characters for Ryukyu slightly changed. There was no standard for romanization until the 20th century, so there are literally dozens of different spellings for the word Ryukyu. The main island of Okinawa is called Daluchudo in Chinese, so when Commodore Matthew C. Perry visited the island in the 1850s, he referred to it as the Island of Great Ryukyu. Even after the Japanese annexed the islands, transliteration wasn't standardized. This sign says Ryukyu Chozen o Kotowari, which means no Ryukyuans or Koreans allowed. Now, the use of the term Ryukyu has itself changed over time due to Japanese geopolitics. The name Ryukyu is applied to these islands because they roughly correspond to the maximum extent of the Ryukyu kingdom, which conquered them in the 15th and 16th centuries. However, in 1609, the Japanese feudal domain of Satsuma invaded and defeated the Ryukyu kingdom, forcing them to cede all of the islands north of Okinawa. The Japanese then gave this island group a new name, Satsunan, which literally means south of Satsuma. The islands to the south continue to be called Ryukyu. However, after the Sino-Japanese War, when Japan annexed Taiwan, they renamed the entire island chain the Nansei Islands, which literally means southwest, as in from the direction of Japan. When the Japanese annexed the Ryukyu kingdom and established it as a Japanese prefecture, they decided to use the name Okinawa. Okinawa is the Japanese pronunciation of the Ryukyuan word Uchina, which is the native name for the island. Interestingly, the first time that the character for Okinawa appears is on a map from 1702, made in Japan. On a Japanese map made in 1644, the island is labeled as Okinawa. These discrepancies show that the Japanese are trying to erase the term Ryukyu. But why would they do that, you might ask? Well, that's for another video. Thanks for listening. See you next time.